Hey Aries, welcome to May 2020. This month I'm pulling from some Kim Kranz decks. So first I'm going to pull Animal for you, and then I'll pull tarot cards. Oh, Horse. Interesting. I'm going to take Horse, which, I shuffled the cards too, but Pisces also got them. So this kind of came in sideways, but I'm giving it to you upright. Got the Seven of Cups, Seven of Swords, Mother of Swords, or Wands, rather, sorry. Okay. Oh, Strength. Ace of Swords in reverse. And Ace of Wands. Anything else? Nah. Okay. So, Horse to me is forward movement. It's kind of like taking the reins of your life. It's charging ahead. It's kind of like having a purpose, I think, associated with that. Like, kind of moving in a direction because there's somewhere to go, rather than kind of like an aimless moving about. It's like you have a kind of destination in mind. With the Lovers, I mean, this could be about romantic love for sure, and I think it could be you charging ahead in the name of love, is what I'm getting. Yeah, and so it's not necessarily, I mean, if you're single, maybe it's getting in a relationship. If you're in a partnership, maybe it's kind of moving forward in your relationship in some capacity, finding deeper intimacy. But I'm drawn to like a conversation about these sevens that have appeared. And sevens are a spiritual number. And we got these two aces too. And also just want to point out that we have the Mother of Wands, and this is you. This is Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, but you're an Aries, so it's obviously like you're showing up in your reading, and your feminine self is showing up in your reading. So I kind of feel like okay, so we got the Seven of Swords. This is kind of about deception or trickery. Like, this fox is like, oh, I don't have another sword, even though this fox clearly has another sword, so it's like, fuck you, you know? And then the Seven of Cups is like not being able to make a clear choice, feeling kind of like lost, like having so many options that like suddenly nothing sounds really good, or like maybe like these two cups are really hard to choose between and you wish you could just have both. So with this, plus the Lovers and the Horse, I feel like it's like you want to move forward in the name of love, but there is sort of like some kind of either lies or some kind of like uncertainty or some kind of lack of clarity, some kind of untruths that are clouding the situation for you and that are making it a little bit like because what I said about the horse was like the horse is moving forward with like a clear sense of purpose, right? Like, I know exactly why I'm going, why I'm doing it, and what I'm trying to get through this situation. But with this, it's like that's not actually the case. Maybe telling yourself that you know exactly what you're doing is a lie you're telling yourself. And maybe there's someone being unfair in your life who deep down you know it, but also deep down you don't want to acknowledge it because that might shatter some illusion that you're kind of clinging on to of what's been serving your life right now. With this Seven of Cups too, I also think of like the Holy Grail in Indiana Jones when he like goes to the cave to pick the cup, and like most of them turn you into like a melted skeleton on the ground, and only one cup is the right cup, and it's like turns out it's like the most boring looking cup. why do I say all that? Well, I just am saying this because I think this month is really about, because this also, remember, came in sideways for me originally too. So I think this is kind of maybe about romance, or about a choice you're making in the name of love, at least, where you don't really know where it's landing. And I can totally relate to this energy, so at this point I'll just make this reading about me, even though I'm not an Aries. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like, okay, this is exactly what I'm getting. It's like Schrödinger's cat or whatever. Like, the whole thing with that, or Schrödinger's box. It was like there was a cat in the box, and, like, either the cat was dead or the cat was alive, and then the, like, philosophy was that, like, both are true until you open the box. Or, like, neither is true. It's, like, kind of like there's a 50-50 chance, like, either the cat's alive or dead, and, like, there are both universes exist at the same time in the moment where there is that unknowing, that lack of clarity. And I feel like that's kind of where you're at now with this situation. Although, remember, I did give it to you upright in the end. So, I think right now you really just need to hold space for the fact that there is more to the situation than you are presently aware of, and that there is sort of ultimately a right choice to make in this instance, in your particular reading. There is a truth to be found, but you don't know it yet. And I think the more you can kind of, like, so bringing it to strength, like, the more you can kind of, like, hold this unknowing situation, hold this space for this lack of certainty, the more you can kind of, and I'm totally dealing with this. I mean, it's like wanting answers to pending situations, having no idea how it's going to shake out, and having to be okay on a deep level with any way it happens, right? And having to find a way to be present in the moment. Like, to me, this strength card is really calling on you to, like, be here now, to be zen. Like, your strength comes from your willingness to acknowledge that you don't know what the future holds, and none of us really do, right? And having that, like, space of, like, vulnerability in a way empower you to, like, feel peace here in this moment. Because I guess I've heard, I don't know, I've never experienced this myself, but I've heard that, like, if you can get super, super, super fucking present in the now, in this moment, then you can feel all of eternity. Like, you get that spaciousness and that sense of, like, forever in that one single moment. And that's, again, about paradox, too. So, I think your strength comes from holding on, or letting go, even, rather. Like, see, there's a lot of paradox in this time, in general. And what I'm talking about is, like, finding your own sense of, like, peace in whatever comes next, however it happens. Because we got the Horse and the Ace of Wands, and I think when you can kind of, like, chill and wait to move in this new direction, the answer will come. The knowing will come. I think even in this, like, I think this is, like, absolutely a great time to meditate. It's like that moment of, like, inspiration, that moment of knowing, that moment of opening the box and finding your answer. I think it will come, and then you will have the no, like, the knowing. Not necessarily a no, it could be a yes to your situation, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, when you get the information that you need when it comes, then you'll know how to deal with it. Like, with this love interest, for example. Maybe they like you, maybe they don't. Maybe you find out they like you. Maybe you find out they don't. But either way, it doesn't really matter because you've already sat with that process of accepting all possible infinite outcomes. And so now you kind of just get to be surprised and to live in that moment and to, like, respond authentically and to, like, move forward through your life with confidence no matter what is thrown at you. Does that make sense? Like, you are getting grounded within your sense of inner strength to the point that you know that you can handle anything life can throw at you. And when you get to that kind of point of like, well, no matter what, I got me, I trust me, I'm going to take care of me, I'm secure within myself, and I'm going to adjust and adapt to whatever happens, and I'm going to make the most of whatever my life includes, then inspiration, then illumination, then kind of this seeing energy of like, oh, that's the direction. That's my path. That's what's calling me. That's what I'm getting here with the Ace of Wands. Kind of like also thinking about like wands being like a magic wand, right? Like you're making your move. And then we got the horse. And then it's like, yeah, this like floodgate of just moving forward and being in that flow and like moving in that direction now. And moving in that direction with this kind of like grace and like, because also what I said about like moving forward in the name of love, it's like, I think it's partly about love for yourself too. And that's what you get out of the strength card and the holding that space for paradox and for not knowing with this is like, now whatever choice you're making, whatever it is out of a place of love, a love for yourself, a love for others, a love for the highest good of all involved. And so I think there's like a real peace and clarity and like divine like inspiration and divine assistance, because it's like, you know, whatever you're moving toward is the best path for you. And you know that like even if it wasn't initially what you thought it should be or whatever, you don't melt into a skeleton like in that Indiana Jones scene. You pick the right cup and then you pick the Holy Grail, and then the Holy Grail takes care of the rest, right? So, kind of, my readings are just what they are at this point, but I hope that resonated with you, and I hope that you enjoy this month, because it seems like it's a very big shift. And a very big shift internally, too, more importantly, that ultimately becomes this huge external shift, but I think really giving yourself credit for the fact that like it arose from within you. So beautiful, love it, and I'll see you again in June. Bye.